Hi, I'm Dr. Rajani. And all this time, you thought Botox and Botox-like products were wrinkle reducers, wrinkle removers. Is that really the case? There's a dirty little secret that people get fooled on. They wake up one morning and they get fooled. Let's talk about that dirty little secret next. So thanks for joining me for today's video. If you like these videos, subscribe below. Also, we have playlists. So this is a tip of the iceberg to learn about neuromodulators. Go to our playlists and you can watch tons of videos on neurotoxins, Botox, which one is best, which one has more neurotoxin, lower face, upper face, everything about them. Education is key, whether you're administering products or you're a user and you're thinking about getting your first time treatment, or veterans as well. There's a lot people don't know. So what's this dirty little secret? I'll tell you a little bit of a case, and this will ring home for many people. Let's say someone in their 30s or 40s has been getting neurotoxin for a while. When we talk about that, we're talking about Botox, dysport, Xeomin, and jeuveau in this country, all abobotulinum toxin type A's. Similarities and differences, and I'll post a video on the end screen that will tell you about the different ones, but they're more similar than dissimilar. They all have little nuances, but the same mechanism of action for today's video. So people come in, and then by their 40s, 45, 50, especially skin type 1 through 3, estrogen's declining, the skin is thinning, and this is what they'll say. The Botox I had recently, and we're using Botox as a generic term here, it applies to all of them in fairness, it just didn't work, doctor, it didn't work, it didn't take. Now we know from our past videos that sometimes it doesn't take. That's a normal part of a drug in a body's response. Let's put that aside. And I'll say, well, what do you mean? And they'll move, or they'll frown, or they'll smile. The most common area is the frown, the forehead, and then the eyes. Those are all FDA approved areas. And we'll say, well, move, and they'll try and move, and they'll have maybe 20% of movement. So a good response to these products is 70 to 80% reduction in movement to the given dose. As you go up in dose, sometimes you don't get those last 10 to 20% of fibers, but all of a sudden that 20% movement, where at age 30, and I'm using age, I never use age in my clinic, but people like to understand. It's the easier way to understand age, but of course, every 30-year-old and 60-year-old and 20, they're all different. Some 60-year-olds look like 20 and vice versa. So using an age, they'll say, well, it worked, that same dose worked for me when I was 35, at 40 now, it's just not doing it. And you'll see 20% of the movement, which means they responded to the drug. That's a response to the given units that are FDA approved in those areas. What happened? What's this dirty little secret? Well, the problem is those products, what do? They stop muscle movement. They stop contraction of muscle to the tune of about 80% if we're successful. That means that little bit of movement is now causing many lines. Well, why is that? It doesn't build collagen. And because it doesn't get to the root of the problem, therefore, it can't fix the problem. It kind of masks that problem. It's kind of like hiding rust in a car where you don't see it, and all of a sudden one day it bubbles through the paint. And you're like, what's going on there? Now, to understand rust in a car, I guess you got to be Canadian, or you got to be from somewhere where they use salt. But that's how it works, is all of a sudden one day, and that's the same with neuromodulators. So the movement creates the line. Remember, there's no collagen building here. So what do? In many cases, people say, let's increase the dose, or let's try again. And if you add to that, let's just talk 20 units in a glabella, or 20 units is FDA approved in the forehead, which is too much for most people. They'll droop. But if you increase the dose, they come back in 2 weeks, which is the appropriate time to come back, you increase the dose, and let's say you get another 10% of the fibers. Well, that bides them through, they increase their dose for another 2 or 3 years. All of a sudden, we're just going to throw out an age of 50. They come in at 50. Now there's no collagen, their estrogen's gone down, the skin is thin. Males are less obviously susceptible to the hormonal change, but for a woman, it's a steep cliff. And now it doesn't work altogether. But there's 20 years of catch up from the age of 30, even younger of course, but 30 to 50 we'll say. They didn't focus on building collagen because that quick hit of product is what gave them that instant lift. And why do people like that? Just like I said, it's quick, it's instant, and it masks the problem. But at a certain age, you're going to pay the price for not paying attention to collagen. So it's something to be very aware of. Of course, sunscreen, smoking, avoiding pollution, all those healthy habits, diet and exercise, all important. But from a younger age, collagen building with devices, with radio frequency, at a certain point, Plasmasculpt, Plasma Glow, Meso-Glow, all of those treatments, and your provider is going to have their own ones. You have erbium YAG lasers, whatever they tend to use, Fraxels and Halos and all those treatments. I like radio frequency. It doesn't see color. It builds the collagen. There's less downtime, and to me, less side effects. I used to use a lot of erbium YAG and CO2 laser. People often don't tolerate that. Things you can do at home, of course, there's a lot of things. We have a video on hyaluronic acids. Retin-As are important. If you're on all those things, your need for services in a medi-spa or at your doctor's offices greatly reduce, and that's what you want. It's not about saving money on cheaper neurotoxin, and we talk about that with self-injecting and home Botox and all the perils that can lead to that. But it's about taking care of the skin so that that given muscle movement doesn't create the lines. And skin type is very important because you won't see that in the skin type 4 to 6, a darker skin. They're not going to get the lines and wrinkling that a lighter skin is going to get. So many factors involved, and I have other videos on this. But just one of the most important things you can understand is there's a dirty little secret. It stops muscle movement. Botox and those type of products do not build collagen. You don't get the long-term effect of building healthy, beautiful, vibrant skin. Keep it in mind the next time you go for your neuromodulator appointment and your provider recommends ancillary services. They're not trying to take money from you. They're trying to help you get that great skin. So subscribe here. I want to know, what is it that you do to build collagen? What's your experience with neuromodulators been? And let us know in the comments below. Of course, on Instagram, we have a lot of different topics we discuss over there, so please join the conversation on our Instagram page, and I'll see you next time to keep your skin and body beautiful, healthy, and vibrant.